Hey Popot, can you hear me? Okay. Can you see the game maker and everything? That's not a good sign, is it? No. Uh, okay, so I'm not sure if anyone can hear me, but I'm just going to explain what I'm doing right now. Um, I've got two arrays, one for the units in the player's army and another for all the units in the game. That's including the enemy characters that I want to carry on from battle to battle because we need to store their stats. Um, I've just realised that I don't need two arrays because both arrays hold a lot of the same information. It's just that the unit one is bigger, so I'm just getting rid of the player army one, and then that was originally going to be used for when you are changing classes, changing your gear, that kind of stuff. I'm just going to make probably a list of any units that are inside that are part of the player's army, which is a stat that's part of the global unit list. Global unit list and global.pl army use the same stats, so there's no point having two, and it's just confusing. Like, what are they both for? especially if I come back to it in a month's time, or someone who hasn't coded it, like you guys, like why are there two arrays? So whenever you find yourself with when you're adding things to arrays twice, do you really need two arrays? So sometimes you do, but in this occasion I really don't think that I do. So I'm just in the process of getting rid of that one now. This is also, I'm doing all this so I can basically get the stats working in battle and get doing that stuff. That's going to be fun for me to do. This stuff is a bit of a ball ache right now. Yeah, okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Otherwise this is going to be a bust. So we've updated the script. I need to update here as well. So I've got a script. Anytime I want to add a unit to the player's army, or I want to add units for the enemy's battle, I'm going to be using this script. So what this is going to do at the start of the game is it's going to add a fighter or two fighters and an archer to the player's army. Is there anything else? I think I forgot to do one thing inside there actually. Level. Yeah. Level and name. There we go. Hey Matthew. Can you hear me okay? Is this coming through loud and clear? It's a disaster. Okay, cool. So I don't know if you heard me explain what I was doing right now. I really want to work on the units in battle, but before I do that I have to sort out the stats for them first. And on the last stream I was having trouble working out the best way to do an array for them, and I decided to have one big array for all the units that I wanted to save. It's going to save the player's units. It's going to save any enemy units that I want to carry on from battle to battle. Any characters are going to be in there from the start, and then every time the player buys a new unit, it will get added, and every time there's a battle, then enemy units will be added, and then they will be taken away after the battle. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to sort all of that stuff out. And I had two arrays for they were basically doing the same thing. I had one big array for all the units, smaller array for the players. So here I'm just checking to see if there's a slot that I've deleted that I can add to, and if I didn't find a slot, then I'm going to add one to the array. That's what this will do, and then this will add all the stats of the new unit. You can have unit class, unit level, and whether it's going to be in the player's army or not. If it's not in the army, it's going to be an enemy soldier. Okay, and I'm just going to look for any other instances of PL army just so I can get rid of it. Might as well get rid of this stuff now. If anyone has any questions, comments, I'm keeping an eye on the chat. Last time people were trying to talk to me, and it's weird. There's two different chats in YouTube, and I was typing into one, and they couldn't see me, and I couldn't see theirs. So I have no idea what was going on. Okay, so this line needs to be changed. I like to keep things in comments when I'm changing them, just in case I want to switch back. Hey Noah, how's it going, man? That would be awesome, dude, because at the moment, where is it? This is the sprite that I'm using for the units. It's going to get colored blue or red, so yeah. What are we doing? Oh yeah. Okay, so that should be it. I think I've covered all of that now. I'm sure I'll find some errors very soon. Okay, so now that I have done this, I want to be adding the enemy units to the unit list. I haven't done that yet. I should do this in the step event. So there's an error message for line 14. Basically, I'm trying to access an entry in unit list that isn't there. Is it because of max units in army? It may well be. What I should really be doing is array 2D, array length 2D. This is because I just copied and pasted from the old code. That's why I got the crash. Let's try that again. Thanks, MV. Nice head. So, I think the way that I do arrays is wrong. Someone left a message to say that when I did a tutorial on CSV files, the way that I have the entries is the wrong way around. Like, for example, I don't know if you're going to be able to. I don't think you can see this. So, if I have an array with like a stats, let's say Fred, and then a stats.hp. I think he was saying that I should have it this way, like that. I think that's the way a lot of people do it. I've always done it this way, but when it comes to using things like array length 2D, I always get confused, like which one am I supposed to be checking. So I'm just going to do a show debug message so I can find out the exact length of this, and then that'll let me know whether I'm doing it correctly or not. So let's run the game. So 22, where was it? There we go. This line here. It's telling me the length of the array is 22. I think I've got it the wrong way around, because I believe there's 22 different stats, and there's only about 6 units in the game right now at this stage. If I go into my enumerators, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, there's going to be 22 there, so I need to use the other function. That's why I'm getting an array, because unit slot is going past 5 or 6, and that it doesn't exist. So if I change this to height, then it should work. and get rid of this. Slot to add. Let's try that again. Fingers crossed. Yay, okay, cool. So some of you may have seen this last time, others may have not. This is just a 2D representation of before the battle. What units do you want to take with you? Okay, so Matthew, honestly, dude, I just one character is fine because it's a lot of work. If we can just have one character with 4 directions, that would be perfect. The actual classes I stuck into it, or that I made enumerators for, are here. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Just to give people an idea how they can progress from class to class. I wasn't ever gonna have them visually represented though in the game. I think that's too much work to ask of anyone to do, especially if they're gonna make nice graphics for it. So can you guys see the game running? You probably can't, can you? Okay, yeah, I probably need to switch the windows then. Oh, it's not going to work. Gosh darn it. Oh, there we go. Can you see that? You should be able to, I think. Hey Joshua, how's it going, man? Okay, cool, right, so this is the pre-battle screen where you decide what characters are going to go. Some of the slots are already filled because you can, in your missions, you can decide which characters are going to be mandatory, and it will auto-fill them, and it means you can't remove them either. So you can. Oh wait, I've got the same bug. So this should be set to 3. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'll fix that in a minute. I fixed it last time, but I've broken it again. So anyway, you can add and remove some of them, but you can't remove the mandatory ones. You can move them around like that. So that's what's going to be in the tutorial. I've broken this bit. It should only have the characters, the numbers that aren't deployed, which will be 3, 4, and 5, I think. But I guess I've broken that. Let me just switch back to the game code. Might take a minute to come. Sorry about this. I don't know why it's not coming back. There we go. Okay, cool. So I want to fix that bug now that we had battle Trogui. Okay, so it's going to be the reserve stuff. It's going to be the reserve list. Remember now. And I know, I'm pretty sure I know why I caused the bug. It's because of this line here. I'm adding all of the units that are in the army into the reserve list, and I forgot this bit here, so excuse me. So basically, if the unit is in a player's army and he has health and he is not a mandatory unit because they've been added automatically, then we're going to add him to the list, and if I press play again, then we shouldn't see 0, 1 or 2. There we go. So 4, 5 and 6 are the we've got 2 soldiers and an archer. You can't see it, can you? No. Keep forgetting that. The hell? Thanks, Noah. Thanks for stopping by. I'll try and make it more entertaining next time. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that, shouldn't I? Game. For some reason though, oh there we go. There's the runner. There we go, cool. For some reason the runner, I couldn't see it in the list for ages, so Okay. Yeah, you're gonna see my frowning face right now. It's not going as well as I'd hoped, but anyway, you can see we can only cycle between 4, 5, and 6. Slot 3 is for an enemy boss, so he's already saved in the unit list. So we can place 4, 5, and 6. We can swap people around. We can take out 4, 5, and 6, but we can't take out these guys. These are the mandatory characters. And if we press battle, then we can see the enemy units displayed and the player units. I haven't added these guys to the main unit list yet, which is the thing I've been trying to work up to, which is what the past hour or so has been about. You can see the player units are in the same positions that they were in the pre-battle screen as well. So let's go back to the coding now. Are you going to work this time, GameMaker? OBS. Cool. That's weird. Oh, I know. Bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna set something up so to make it easier. Switching between the two. Rename. What the hell? For some reason, it doesn't want me to have 2 different game capture screens. Oh. Let's get on with it anyway. Okay. Now we just need to see where we are adding the enemy units into this, so I can add them to the unit list. So this stuff here is what I used just to get myself started. I've since been using a .csv file to store the mission data. Just want to find the part where I'm loading the list. Mission data. Oh, here we go. So what this script does is it's going to check a grid which stores the mission data. The mission data is stuff like this. Which units are mandatory for the player, which is why we had 0, 1 and 2 to start with. What is the victory objective, defeat objective, who needs to die, who needs to survive. So if the player dies, it's game over. Are any of the player units controlled by the AI? Do they need to get to a certain location? What is the reward for completing the mission? Do they get any items? And which map is going to be the battle map? And I added a few more. So a string of enemy units, their level, any special ones like the characters. So it'll be number 3. 3 is the enemy boss for this one. And that's it. So that's what this script is going to be loading. I just want to make sure I'm adding them to the global unit array, which I'm not right now. But this string holds the enemy soldiers. So I want to add it here, I believe. I want to copy this stuff. Actually, let's just run the script from here. That would make sense. Unit class. I hope so. I hope it's going to be awesome. I wasn't happy with some of the things in the starter kit, the RPG starter kit. Like I hated having to change things around and add adding new things and deleting things. It made it a bit of a mess, and it kind of felt a bit unprofessional. So I'm just trying to make sure that I get everything done first before I start making tutorials. And I'm not going to change anything during that. After it's finished and released, then I will add things to it for itch. But yeah. So I'm making good use of the script that I have for adding units to use it here. So every time we add a unit for the enemy army in battle, we're going to be using the script to add it to the unit list as well. The reason I'm doing that is so we can save during battles. That's why we need to keep track of the enemy data, and then after the battle, any character that isn't special and isn't in the player's army, we can just delete it. I think this should do. This will do the trick. Okay, cool. So I think now I'm finally ready to actually start coding the gameplay, the unit battle stuff. I don't know. Not too expensive. Probably because I put down the RPG starter kit at like $25, and that was 25 episodes. I don't think this series is going to be that long, so I'll probably decide after I finish doing the series. But yeah, that's the plan anyway. The good thing about itch is you can always give more if you want to. So if you think something is underpriced, you can always give more. So I'd rather err on the side of a bit cheaper, make it a bit more affordable, and then if people think it's good, they can always tip more. So that's one good thing about itch. I'm going to take a small break for 5 minutes. I'm going to come back and plan exactly how I'm going to move the units on the map. We're gonna be able to hopefully see moving units across the map and stuff like that. So yeah, give us 2 minutes and I will be right back. Okie dokie karaoke. Right, so as I said in chat, the next thing I'm going to do is create a queue, priority queue, based on initiative, and whoever initiative is higher gets to go first. So if I remember properly, I'm not actually using objects for the units. Let me just find out how I'm doing it. So this section is creating the units on the map. Let's just run the game again. Oh, I have another crash. Line 13. It's because I haven't got around to loading the grids properly for this, so I'm just gonna leave this stuff in for now, just so I can get on with what I said I was going to do. I've got another crash. Basically, the crash message was the fact that I was trying to use a string as a real. Whenever you load a grid, whenever you load a CSV file, the DS grid is full of strings, so we need to convert them back to real numbers, which I don't think I did when I was getting the unit level. That's what I'm looking for right now. Oh, I know. It's inside the script, isn't it? Here we go. So unit level should be the string of this. No, sorry, real. Should be the real. There you go. Okay, cool. So battle. This is the 2D version. So this is displaying the class of each object. But that one isn't. That was it. So what we should be doing is using the entry inside unit list. Yeah, I know. I always end up closing them after there's about 100 across there. Yeah. Apparently that causes lag in GameMaker, but I haven't really suffered it so far, so I just need to remember how I am assigning the information to the unit. Unit index, tile data. So this is something I coded a while ago again, and I've kind of forgotten exactly how I am transferring the data in the array to the battle map. So I'm hoping DS units holds the entries from unit list. I'm just going to check that now. Okay, so this one is adding the mandatory characters, which will be 0, 1 and 2, which is what we want. This is adding the enemy units, but it's going to be adding the class, because in the mission data, when we want to know what units appear in battle, we are using, or I am using numbers based on their class, because we're only storing the data of special characters. So for the throwaway units, we just want to have a class and a level. So we're going to do this, we're going to add them to DS units a bit differently. We added them to unit list inside where are we? Yeah. So we're adding them here to the unit level array. So we want to move this, and after we add the unit to the global.unit level array, we are going to we need to know which entry inside that array it is. So we're going to say array entry equals the script, but we need the script to return this. So we're going to need to go into the script, and we're going to say return, and we want slot to add unit. So this script should now return what slot the enemy unit has just been added to, and that's going to allow us then to where are we? There we go. So now if we run the game again, and I switch to this one, so we go into battle and then look at the enemies. There we go. So it's now holding the entry in the global unit list of where they should be. So every unit's going to have its own unique entry, and that's going to allow us to grab the stats and stuff that we need. So that is perfect. So now we can actually code the priority queue. Let me know if I'm making sense, people, because if I'm talking a lot and no one's saying anything, I'm like, are they all scratching their heads? Do I need to explain something? I don't know. Is anyone even watching this? 4 people. Hey, great. Right, anyway, OBJ battle step event. So now we should be in battle state, which is here. So we've got moving the camera, switching between 2D and ISO. Actually, before we do that, we want to set up priority queue. Thanks, Mars. So what a priority queue does is you can just use this function ds priority add, and then it's going to add a value to the queue based on a priority. So whoever's going to have the higher initiative is going to go first, and whoever has lowest is going to go last. It's going to be the last one added, or it's going to be lower on the queue. Even if it was added first, if it's the lowest initiative, it'll be on the bottom. The value we want is let's get that unit equals just units I, and the priority is going to be var initiative equals global.unit list unit estats dot initiative. There we go. Nice and easy. So why I spend hours trying to get the stat stuff right is so that when we actually try and use the stats, it can just be this simple. This is going to go through all the player characters on the battle and all the enemy characters on the battle. It's going to add them by their initiative to a priority queue, and this is all we need for that. And then we want to say we're going to have a starting character, current unit equals ds priority delete min. This is going to get the very first entry, which is the highest initiative. And what we're going to do is every time a unit has had their turn, we're going to check to see if there's any more entries in the queue, and if there are, then grab it. Otherwise, we're just going to create the queue again. That's how we'll do it. So we can probably make a script out of this and just call it. Yeah, exactly. I see. Like, knowing what you're going to be doing is half the battle. Like, once you know how to code, you know how what a for loop is and stuff, it's designing how it's going to work. Knowing how it's going to work is the main battle for me anyway. Okay, so now we have a current unit. Okay, so we're in the battle state. We want to, let's display something in the draw event. So we're going to highlight the unit that's active. So this is the draw unit region. We're going to say if current unit equals unit index. Unit index is just gonna it's the numbers that I showed you just before. So on the red ones it was like 7, 8 or 9. So if this matches, then we know it's the unit that's been currently selected. We'll say call equals C yellow just for now. So if we run the game, we should see one of the units is now highlighted yellow. Oh, I got a crash. Just give me 2 minutes. Must be positive. .106. So I'm guessing one of the entries is undefined. Let me just debug this for a minute. Well, that looks okay to me. 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. That's what it's supposed to be. So what we'll do then, we're just going to check the contents of DS units after, or just before this bit. Okay. So for some reason DS units 3 equals -1. That's what's given us a problem. I don't even know why I'm initializing it here, because that's what's going to give us a problem. I'm just going to comment this out. And then yeah, this should work better now. It didn't crash. That's a good sign. Well, the good news is one of our menus highlighted. The bad news is that we've got 8 player units and there should only be like 3. So let me just check on that for a minute. This is part of why I hate it when I make code earlier and then don't use it and then do something else for a month and then come back to it, because I always forget what I was doing and where I was up to and why I was doing it, because it was half finished. I'm just going to search for every entry of DS units. So we clear or create the list of DS units, then we're loading mission data, which should be adding all of the entries. Yeah, even with comments, it's still hard sometimes for me to know what I was doing, just because there's different ways of doing things. want to see the size of the list first of all. 13. Okay, so we can see from the output that we've got the proper characters there for the player 0, 1 and 2, and the proper characters for the enemy, but we have these entries here that I'm adding that we don't need to add. So I just need to find where I'm doing that, and I should be good. Just delete this. I think sometimes I think I make too many comments, and other times I don't make enough. And then someone told me that my naming convention was bad or confusing, and sometimes it is. Like sometimes when you think of a name, it sounds fine, but then when you come back to it, it's not always as descriptive as you'd like. But then you don't want to have something that's like 12, 20 characters long, because it looks like a nightmare. You know, it's hard to find clear, concise names sometimes. I think that's part of the problem. That's why I got rid of the second array, because I had an array for all the units, an array for the player's army, and an array for the units in a battle. It's like you don't need that many. Mm. I think what I did was I initialized the list to have 8 slots. Yeah, it was supposed to just be for the player units, and I'm now using it for the player and enemy units. So let me look inside the draw event to see if that's where I'm doing this wrong. I was hoping to do something interesting today, so like, you know, actual moving the units around, but I guess once again it's failed. I was only going to do another half an hour for the stream, so I might just end it early so I can sort this out, and then next time I stream we will just go straight in with the interesting stuff, making units move around. Has anybody got any questions, comments you want to say before we end? Thank you for coming. It means a great deal to me that you would spend time watching me faff about on Game Maker 2. I always find it hard to like the longer that I program and do my own thing, I find it harder to know what other people are doing. Like if I see their code, it can be quite, because there's some really mad ways that people program, like when people have been doing it for like a decade and they know things that I don't, and it's like being a beginner all over again. So I like very obtuse, clear code where everything is very, you know, very clear cut, because I'm simple-minded. Goodbye for now. Thank you for coming.